Recently actually been diagnosed as dyslexic, so it takes me a lot longer to maybe learn things, but the fact now that I'm basically like the founder of a magazine and I write a magazine, it's just finding your own way of learning. So it was months and months and months later, like I had went through a really difficult time, like probably September, I'd probably say like hit rock bottom. I tried to like almost kind of like, I've not even spoken about this to anyone, right? So I did try to take my own life in September, but that was just due to how my body was responding to what happened. For me, like I hear whether the charity set up or not, do you know what I mean? Like, spoke to loads of people, just speak to people, don't keep it to yourself.
Oh, it's cooled down a wee bit in here now, isn't it? You know,
yeah, because it was freezing this morning. That's how that heater was on.
I thought it was a sauna, this place, when we first came in.
No, it's so cold.
Like, we're doing a podcast in a sauna today.
It was a bit warm, I take my jumper off.
I know, sweating like that, jeez. But and the coffee's not doing anything good for it, to be honest with you, having that. So, thank you very much for coming on the podcast, Laura.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's good to have you. It's good to have you. So yeah, obviously everyone who's listening, we are now today joined by Laura Porter. I'll maybe just let you maybe explain, Laura, a wee bit like what you do. Like what is your business just now? Explain to maybe the viewers, obviously, who you are and kind of what you do just now.
So I always just say I'm in the beauty industry. I was beauty trained about 14 years ago, just doing the kind of standard beauty treatments, and just over the years I've kind of expanded on that. So now I would say I'm more of a skin therapist, body therapist. I don't even know. I just say I say the beauty industry. I do so much stuff that I just say I'm in the beauty industry. If anyone asks,
I think for anyone that knows what you do, that's definitely playing it down. You know, like you've got like multiple businesses at this point in time, don't you? You know, you've even got a magazine, as like an online magazine. You've got, you've obviously got your clinics. Also now a skincare line. Yeah,
that's coming out in hopefully by summer. That'll be ready to launch.
As if you don't have enough on your plate.
I know, so I just say the beauty industry because there's that much stuff. It just makes it easier.
Yeah, it's just just
I probably do play it down a bit. But,
And then now, obviously, which we'll go into a wee bit later on, but you're now the founder of Let's Talk
Fab
Foundation, Fab. Obviously for fertility and birth. So we'll definitely get into that as well a wee bit later on. But so yeah, a lot on your plate, you know. But I just thought for anybody that maybe didn't know who you were, which you know, there's only a couple out there still. You know, it's definitely just good to explain kind of who you are. So, but like with most people, we like to kind of go back to the beginning of kind of you've obviously got these businesses now, really successful businesses. You're definitely an entrepreneur, but it's sometimes quite good to go back and just kind of see how this kind of all came about. So where is it that you actually grew up, Laura?
So I was born in Drumchapel, lived there until I was about 10, and then most of the rest of the time we lived in Knightswood, so just not far from Drumchapel.
Right, okay. And what kind of pupil were you in school? I think it's always a good question. It's like what type of person were you?
Nightmare.
Like, were you?
I was a rogue. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really have a really good attention span at school. I was quite naughty, I would say, right? I've recently actually been diagnosed as dyslexic, right? So that kind of almost makes sense as to why I probably didn't really, how was it, like kind of like stick in at school, if you like, because I probably was a bit lost and didn't really know. Took me a long time to learn things and stuff like that. So now that I'm older, and I know that was probably the reason why, because I like pretty much utilise all those things that you would have learnt at school now as an adult, but I understand it better as an adult. So that's so at school I wasn't great. I was always dogging it, if you like. Never there. It's really bad.
That sounds a bit like ourselves, to be honest with you as well.
Really, really bad. So
one of the ones that like don't pay attention and put everyone else off in the class as well.
Yeah, that is me. To distract probably from the fact that I was like not probably picking up as much as
I think back in the day,
else,
it was definitely less diagnosed than that, wasn't it? Like dyslexia and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think more nowadays when they see pupils, probably like students acting like that, they'll probably be able to know and like realise and be able to get the extra help now. You know that.
Yeah, I mean I can read and write and stuff like that, but it's just like I probably get a bit frustrated with the reading if I don't really understand things, or so it takes me a lot longer to maybe learn things. But the fact now that I'm basically like the founder of a magazine and I write a magazine, it's just finding your own way of learning. It just takes you that wee bit longer, and years of experiences doing different things and learning.
That is amazing, actually. Like you're saying, it's like you might struggle a bit with reading and writing, but you do. Yeah, you've got a full-on magazine. That's unbelievable.
I know, it's cool.
It's a good way of looking at things, actually. That it is. It's just finding your own path and like the way of expressing, like you're saying.
And I guess finding, like, when I went back to college and done beauty, like, I absolutely loved that. So I stuck in, and I basically taught my way a better way to learn, like, because I was interested in it as well. So I guess, like, at school I maybe just wasn't interested in all the different things I was doing.
Like, so back in school, obviously, like, you weren't really sticking in that. Like, well, you try your best, obviously, but were you someone that always kind of knew what you wanted to do, or was it back in school, like, you know how they obviously make you choose your subjects dead early, you know, were you someone that thought, okay, I've got an idea of what I want to do?
No, I think I was just like, kind of had jobs like throughout school and stuff like that. I think I was just more about just making the money when I was younger. Even like at 12, 13, I used to go out and like help collect the bin money and get paid like 20 quid a week. I was always making money, so like I never really had an ambition as to where I wanted to be. I didn't really know.
I still don't know what
I want. No, that's it.
We're on the podcast now, jumping on this.
Exactly.
And what kind of like upbringing did you have in terms of like, were you a family that had money, or were you like?
No, like we're from Drumchapel. You can imagine, like most people like from Drumchapel, it's like nobody really worked and stuff like that. Like, we probably never had much. Our dad died when I was young. I was only 11. Like, he was a drug addict and stuff like that. So, you know, like, it's not been a blessed childhood at all growing up. But I look now back in it as an adult, and I actually feel quite lucky that I've had a life experience. I know it's maybe not at the time you didn't really, like, you weren't happy about it, but now looking back, it's just, it is life, and it probably like sets you up for the falls later on in life, and you maybe deal with things a wee bit better. Well, I think that's probably why I've kind of deal with things as I do now, like
builds up a bit of like resilience and
stuff. Yeah,
stuff.
pretty much. So so it wasn't perfect, but then when you lived in schemes, like, it was amazing. Like, as a kid, you just all run about together and whatever.
It's just normal, isn't it?
It's just normal to us. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just your normal. And do you think, like, so was it like you obviously just mentioned there that you would, was it instilled quite early in you, like, to go and make money as well? So it's like you were just saying that you would go out and do the bins for like a wee bit of money and stuff with that.
I don't know if it's just because you grew up in a household where, like, your dad, they weren't working. I don't know, like, kind of where I got my work ethic from, because it's like completely different to what you kind of grew up in. But then they had all these kids to look after as well, so like I don't know where my work ethic came from.
So see, like, after school, what did you just go straight into the different jobs?
Just get a job, just get a wee job. Mum told me if I was leaving school I had to get a job, so I took a job in the bakers. And I was getting like £2 odd an hour or something, but it was better than going back to school. So that was, and then just from there, kept looking for other jobs, and just.
It's bouncing around from job to job. It's like a lot of people do, to be honest with you. You're just saying, like, obviously £2 an hour. I remember that. Like, see, back in the day, I think when I remember working at Woolies, and it was like £3.75 an hour. You know, that was minimum wage. I think minimum wage now is like about a tenner or something like that. See, back in the day, I thought you would have been like a millionaire getting that for like minimum wage. It's unbelievable.
I know, £2.60. I don't even think that's legal. It's like ridiculous.
I don't think it was ever £2.60 by the way. That baker was being.
I know, a fortune. I know, but I was just happy not to go back to school and be earning a wee bit of money, so it was fine.
Living for the weekend.
That's it, pretty much.
And so, like, as you started growing up, like, what kind of you said, like, earlier you were kind of more into like office jobs and all that sort of stuff, like.
So again, just because you've come out of school, not really got the qualifications or anything, so it was kind of just a lot of call centre work. It was quite easy to get into that through like going via agencies, because they would almost like kind of do the interview and then just put people in. They wanted bums on seats, didn't they? So it was easier to get into that. So I done that from 16 till about 24, I think, when I went back to college. So I did it for a long time, working for various different companies. And then I worked for Goldfish Bank. I worked for them for years, probably when I was about 18. So yeah, that was probably the longest job I've had.
Stint.
Yeah.
And so obviously now you run multiple businesses, really successful businesses. Have you ever tried to start anything else? Have you ever had any other businesses like back in the day that you tried to start up in like that?
Just this was the first one, the beauty business, and it was only just as a result of going for a job in the job I was already doing and not getting it, and I just kind of was like a wee bit of a kick in the teeth. But now looking back, it was probably again the best thing that happened to me, because it gave me a shove to go and do something, make a change. Because obviously if you're not happy in your job, like only I can change that. There's no point in me staying there to do something that they're telling me I wasn't good enough. But
how long had you been in that job?
So when I was 18, so, and then that's it would have been 5 years or something I was there. So
it's always got to be pretty hard to come out of a job that's like giving you financial security to then make the decision to...
Like I still worked, I pretty much still worked about 30 hours a week. Then I was back to college because I had a house and stuff like that, so I had to work. There was no option in that, like, so I still kept the job and went back to college.
So so making the decision, what made you think beauty industry? So like obviously you've been working in more office jobs, bakeries.
I don't know, I think it was just something I always kind of was interested in doing, but I never went straight from school because obviously I didn't like school, so the last thing I wanted to do was go and do college. But I think at the age I done it, I was ready to learn again. And I
What age was that?
23.
23. And then so obviously going back to obviously beauty, so did you just take to it like as soon as you...
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yep. I absolutely loved it. And like I probably like... Again, probably struggled with parts of it as well and would get a bit frustrated at it, but then I just started to learn my own way of learning. Like I used to write everything down and just like write until it was stuck in my head, which is a very long-winded way of learning, but it worked. So
just repetition.
Yeah,
repetition
just kept repeating everything and writing it down, and yeah, got
and
through
so
it.
see, when you first went back to college, was the vision always at that point that I want to start my own business, or at that point was it just I'll do this and get a job in the industry?
No, I was never getting a job by anyone again after that. That was the decision, was I would just work for myself.
Jeez, I guess once you've made that decision in your head, you know. But
then that comes with the trying to start that up as well. Some weeks having hardly any clients at the start, like going round doors, posting flyers, like, you know, just like...
I talk a wee bit about obviously maybe like when you were first setting up your first business. You said earlier that literally you borrowed £500.
Yeah, off my grandpa. That was when I was at college, so that was basically so I could get practice in. Like whilst I was at college, he lent me my first £500. So that was pretty much what I would say the start of it.
And so how did you start? Was that where did that £500 go? Was it?
So I bought like a beauty bed, a wax pot, like just the kind of stuff that I was doing at college at that time. So.
And then obviously like going doing flyers, that must feel pretty weird. Like, you know, it's like have a business yourself, you've never done this, you know, like
away posting through doors, like, and probably then just sitting waiting, thinking everyone's going to run through your door, and you're just sitting there and nobody's phoned. You're like, that's a waste of a flyer. Do you know what I mean? Like thinking,
waste of money. I've spent 30 quid on those flyers.
That's it. But at the time, that's probably how most people marketed now. Like, wouldn't never be dream of doing that now. Do you know what I mean? But like at the time.
It was the only way of getting
and it was me that had to post them because we've never had any money to pay someone to do it.
I bet you were probably dead nervous, like getting that first the first customer, the first phone call. So what did you start off with doing?
Like just kind of like book beauty stuff, so like waxing, eyebrows, tinting, massages, facials and stuff like that.
Did it just give you a whole new lease of life? Was this just like, okay, this is what I've meant to be doing? Like I've been working in an office like 9 to 5 or all the hours in the day really, you know, and now this is my business.
I just enjoyed it. I just enjoyed the fact that people actually, they wanted to come to me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like they're paying for your service, you know, like they want to be there, they want to chat to you, they want to like know about you, I want to know about them. So that was the part I enjoyed about it.
And how long did it take you to like build, like even just the business to a point where, like, yeah, I'm actually able to be financially independent? You were saying obviously, like, so like what kind of jobs were you doing while you were still obviously trying to build this business?
So I took a job on in the dinner school as well. Whilst I was starting up the beauty, so I was doing a wee part-time dinner woman job. Used to like have a dinner woman job, but go away, do that, and then come back to like the salon and stuff like that. So, but I just kind of always thought if you had that wee bit of income, at least that's something. But yeah.
Do you remember the day that you thought it came to like I can now give that up?
Aye, it was because it was getting like I'd got into this salon in Burnside. Like I just kind of always rented spaces. Always said I would never open a salon till I was at the stage that my day was so busy and like I could afford to pay a wage, because I never wanted to go into a salon and open a salon up and have nobody coming in. I still only had myself to worry about then, and So then I was obviously in this salon in Burnside, and it was like working there, then leaving at lunchtime away do the dinner woman job, and then it was getting too much, and I was like, right, okay, time to stop that. But I waited till the summer holidays so I get paid through the summer holidays.
That's strategic, that's business thinking.
I was like, I'll just stay till July, because then you get your wage through July and whatever, summer holiday pay.
Were you scared at any point? Did you think, like, obviously I'm this busy now, but like, were you scared giving that up, or were you just like,
no, do you know what, like,
ahead?
see, money's never something I worry about. Like, coming from probably Drumchapel and us never having any money, I just always think, like, mum always still got by, so it's like money's not my motivator. Obviously you need it to live, but that's not, I never worried about money. You just always, you'll do whatever you've got, you'll make do, don't you?
What do you think your motivation is then?
I don't even know, like, it's weird. Someone asked me before, like, what the goal was, because they're like, you just like have this drive, but I don't actually have any goals. Like, I've never set a goal, like, because I just don't believe in it. But I do, like, I just have dreams to, like, do nice things for people and, like, make changes to other people's lives. So I think that's like what keeps.
Yeah, like, obviously we were seeing, like, we were looking at your website and like client reviews and things like that. We were looking at obviously your social media, and it's like very much focused on how you make your client feel. You know, it seems to be a massive part of your business. That it's like it focuses a lot on how you can make this person's day better.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's it. And it's, obviously the money's good to have the money, and you can pay for other projects, you can do other things, but that's not the motivator for me.
It's never been the main thing. But like, so you have now became like definitely one of the most recognised figures, obviously, in the industry. You know, you're obviously really, really good at what you do. You're recognised as being really good. Do you think that has what has got you there just by focusing on the client? Like, what do you think has got you to be?
Just because I'm just real. Like, I'm not like, what you see is what you get. And like what I was talking about, that attitude that I've probably had through working for other people, I think is that same attitude that's got me the clientele. So, you know, like, it's like I should never change who you are, like, to suit other people. Like, just be you and people will come to you. Yeah,
just having that authenticity, you know.
It's just me. I'm just me, like, and I don't change, like, for each client. Every client is treated the exact same. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not treat anybody any differently.
Do you have your own clinic now? Like, do you have your actual own premises? Did you, like, just before, we were just talking obviously before you came in here, you're now like through COVID from home, but obviously were you looking to get your own clinic just before?
So yes, I had the clinic, and then we were expanding into bigger clinic, and just came across, even just before COVID, just some problems with the landlord. He just went back on something him and I verbally agreed on, but looking back on it now, I'm kind of glad that he did, because obviously it's probably saved the business, because we would have literally just been opened and probably been closed for COVID. So in a way now, when you look at it, yeah, it was probably a good thing. But I'm still here in this house.
Honestly, we say house, but genuinely it does. Like, see, when I first came in, I was like, this is like a clinic. It's like, it looks amazing. It's fantastic.
Well, that's everybody does think when they come in. Like, and if people say to other people, "Have you seen her salon?" They're like, "That's her house."
I know. It's like, I think it's more like 80% salon, 20% house, isn't it?
Is. I keep thinking I need a bigger house, and I'm like, no, I just need a salon so I can have my house back.
Do you remember being able to like employ your first employee? Like,
so I don't really employ people. What I do now is I've built a team up, like, where I actually just buy equipment and they rent the equipment from me. It's kind of almost so they're like wee branches off of me, and I feel like sometimes, like, I think I don't know if I would work for someone in this industry. So I like to give people that opportunity. It's still their business, but they have like the umbrella under me, and I kind of help and support them. And that's where I foresee my business continuing to go, rather than taking on employees, because I want give people opportunity to actually grow their own business and not just work for me.
I think that goes back to you just being like your authentic self, you know, like that's what you would like to have done, like probably an opportunity you would have quite liked to have had if someone like structured it that way. You weren't so much going and getting a job with a beauty place, but you were more going in with your own business. And no, I think that sounds like a really, really great.
And that's it. You can give people opportunities and just hope that they grow from it on their own. And I'll obviously help and support people as well. Like, But I would have loved somebody to just come and give me a machine years ago and say, there you go. It's not making it easy for people, it's just giving people an opportunity that they never had.
And obviously you started off just with the waxing and stuff. Like,
yep.
What have you now developed into in terms of like the clinic and stuff? What works?
So it's like obviously when I was at college, I used to love doing the electrical machines, and I always remember having a conversation with one of my lecturers about the cost of these machines, and she was like, oh, they're so expensive, and she told me how much they were, and I was like 15 grand or something, this particular one at the time that we used, and I was like, oh, I'll never be able to afford that. And so I guess the dream was to always own a machine. And now it's funny enough, she's actually got a salon and she actually rents one of my machines from me. So that's went full circle, like having that conversation like all those years ago. So yeah, I would say the equipment, as I invest in a lot of equipment, I buy the best equipment so that the clients get the best treatments. Like, I'll go around and test all the machines, I'll go to other clinics and I'll pay to have treatments done, and then I'll bring the best back to us. Like,
yeah,
so,
no, that sounds really good.
The machines, I love a machine. Like, I do probably own now about 15 machines or something. Like,
really?
So it's mad, like, because I'm addicted. I just make money and then buy another machine. I don't actually see any of the
not
money.
Really running in profit.
No,
it's just purely just enough
just
money to buy
as
a
soon as
machine.
enough money back in, I'm like, right, what can I buy next? So it's like, it's just constant.
It's just investing in the business, though, isn't it?
It's just bringing the best to the clients as well, and like giving the clients the best treatment so that they know that when they're coming in and paying money for a treatment, they're not going to leave and be like, that was terrible. They're going to leave and be like, no, that was really good.
That must be pretty amazing looking back now, though. Like, obviously you were in college and thinking 15,000 for that machine, I'm never going to be able to afford that.
I know,
and now
honestly,
literally she rents a machine from yourself.
It's
you know, that's
mad.
Those are the things that you do need to start. You do just like maybe sometimes need to take a step and just go look back at like how far you've come.
Yeah.
Do you do that? Like, do you find you do that quite a lot?
I've probably started doing it more recently, I think, because there's a lot going on like now, and I'm just like thinking, I don't go like, oh, you're amazing, well done, like, but I do, like, you know, pat in the back, like, but I do think I realise how far I've come, like, especially from when I think about high school days. Yeah, definitely, like, because like I said, I'm utilising all those skills that I hated in school now as an adult, but enjoying every bit of it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really, really important message, that like, because you can struggle to like read and write, and you are like, I mean, it is, it's like, I didn't even think of that, obviously with the magazine, and obviously going through the college, you're using these, but just in a way that suits you, you know, and you found a way to be able to learn. And I think your passion, just like, it does, just you can see it. See, as soon as you start speaking about those machines and like what you want to do, you get excited, you know, all these machines, you know. And I think it makes sense getting like the best, so that you can get the best for your clients as well, you know.
Yeah.
So what is your kind of like vision? Not so much your goal, but what is your vision for your clinics just now anyway?
Well, just hopefully we'll be getting into new premises by summer. And then I've got a couple of girls getting trained up. But again, they're just going to be self-employed, but they're going to have no responsibility of buying anything. They'll just earn a percentage of what they make. But they're literally walking into a business that's already established. The clients are there, you know. But it's again an opportunity for them to make money and grow their name, and rather than paying minimum wage. Like, I mean, I wouldn't work for minimum wage, so I can't expect someone else to do that. Do you know what I mean? So I want these girls to come in and work hard and do well at what they do as well, and then I can have a few days off.
Exactly, work-life balance.
Yeah.
Do you feel as if like you would now like to start getting a bit of a work-life balance? Has it just been like full on for the past?
It's been full on definitely the last, like, I would say 4 or 5 years, like, and I'm just being constant, but I definitely want to have a bit more time off. Probably I'm not going to have more time off be sitting about. I'll be probably find something else to do, but it'll be nice to be able to explore other projects.
Yeah, nice. You're probably so used to just like building the business and that now, is that it'd probably be hard to like sit back and like unwind and just sit and watch a movie. Do you know what I mean? Have a day just in your pajamas. You know, you must probably struggle. So I guess like we have spoke about you maybe giving your obviously certain people opportunity to come in and obviously build a business that way. I think that's great. Like to be able to do that. you as a business certainly give back a lot as well. We're obviously noticing that you've obviously set up a lot of charities as well. You obviously give to charities. You have charity nights.
Yep.
Where do you think that's like came from? That like the want, you know, like I know it's obviously nice, but like you go out your way a lot to give back.
I've kind of just always been that kind of person. I am the giver. Like I've always like kind of like to just help people out, I guess. But like I do remember when we were younger, like we used to get cash for kids at Christmas and stuff like that because we didn't really have much. And I don't know if that's just always stuck in my head that someone I didn't know gave me something.
So you were in the position where you actually had
we were getting cash. Someone was like, we were getting gifts from Cash for Kids.
Wow.
So like, I don't know if that's just stuck with me. Like, and like maybe that's where it comes from.
Yeah, you've experienced. Yeah, that must have felt like amazing. Like you can now think, some strangers.
But that's I can always think of that. Some stranger gave me something that like. And it definitely made an impression. So I was just thinking, like, if I can do that for some people, then
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
why not?
Amazing.
Like,
yeah,
because like I say, the money's not the motivator. It's actually, I think I get more joy out of seeing other people happy.
You were saying that earlier just before we came on that like you're finding you're getting quite a lot of joy actually out of the stuff that you actually do for free.
Yeah.
You know, like the charity nights and things like that.
Because it makes someone's day. Like, and like I do like a wee clinics with them where I treat skin tags. Like I kind of do it for free. And recently I've just started saying they make a donation to the new charity because then that's them giving back and I'm giving back. But it's like a simple wee thing like that makes a change to someone's life and gives them that confidence as well.
Did I see you were also doing like a free clinic for like cancer? Was it?
So that's not something we've ran since obviously way before COVID, but we used to run that in our old salon, and then I used to go into the hospice and do free clinics in there as well. But again, since COVID, that's not been a thing because they didn't really have anyone in the hospice, and also just with you need to be very careful treating patients with cancer.
Yeah.
And again, hopefully maybe that's something that we will kind of get back into, but I just think the way the world is just now, we just need to be extra cautious with everyone, you know, like.
Obviously now talking about charities and obviously giving back and things, you've now just set up, in the process of setting up a charity. Can you tell us what that is?
So the charity's called Let's Talk Fab, which stands for Fertility and Birth. So it was kind of weird. I was trying to think of a name for the new charity, but to still tie it to my own business because like my business was being the main financial backing of it to get it set up. So I was like kind of like, let's talk, because it's a subject that nobody really talks about. And then I was like, let's talk fab. Then just weird how the words like fit perfectly. I was just like strange. So the charity is going to be a support service for men and women who basically have any issues from the stage of fertility right through to the stage of birth. So like miscarriage, ectopic pregnancy, anything that kind of falls under that bracket. So the launch for that is in August, but we've got lots of events coming up, like kind of to like wellness retreats and stuff like that. Not everything's finalised, but they will be advertised soon for people. So it's basically just going to be a service to try and get people talking and get people probably away from reality of their day-to-day life and how they're so consumed by these subjects that go on. Like from my personal experience last year, I had 2 failed pregnancies and just kind of felt that the support afterwards there was nothing.
I was obviously like just reading a wee bit of your story, and like so back in the day, did you maybe think that you were just you didn't really know if you wanted kids or not?
No,
like,
I always kind of said I didn't want to have kids. I almost think in the back of my head I always thought I couldn't, right? So I kind of, me telling myself I didn't want kids was actually easier than being told you couldn't have kids. And I've never ever been pregnant or anything like that. And then so that was a shock last year. Like I was like, what the heck's happening here? To be honest with you, I was actually really happy. Like I couldn't believe how happy I was about it. I was like getting shocked, but that was quite short lived. Just a couple of weeks later I miscarried, and then the partner I was with at the time, like we actually had a big fallout just a couple of weeks after that. But so that was kind of, I don't know if it was as a result of that, maybe, who knows, like it was never really spoke about it properly since either. So I guess that's again coming back to the let's talk. There was no communication there. But I then discovered I was pregnant again. So the week that we broke up, I must have felt pregnant again. So I was like, oh shit. how are you going to tell him this? Like, you know what I mean? But anyway, it's fine, told him. But again, 2 weeks later, it was then discovered it was actually ectopic, so it meant it was growing in the tube. So I had to have surgery and all that to have that like kind of removed. So it was quite a traumatic experience. But at the time, I just kind of got on with it, because I think it's like you're almost, because nobody really taught us about it. You think, am I wrong to even want to speak about it or highlight that it is actually an issue, you know? So it was months and months and months later, like I had went through a really difficult time, like probably September, I'd probably say like hit rock bottom. I tried to like almost kind of like, so I've not even spoken about this to anyone, right? So I did try to take my own life in September, but that was just due to how my body was responding to what happened.
Just take your time, honestly.
Just take a wee minute, Laura. You're doing great, by the way.
Really, really well.
So I've never spoken to anyone about that. No one actually knows. And the reason I never spoke, because it wasn't a cry for help, it was just actually I didn't how I felt. But I went through like a lot of things or whatever, and obviously the reality is I want to be here, but at this time my hormones are all over the place, and my body was like, I was waking up in the middle of the night and I thought I was still pregnant. My mind was all over the place. I didn't know what was going on, and there was nobody to talk to. Like, so basically from the back of my terrible experience, this charity is going to just do everything that's wrong with basically like this world, and like that we need more support for men and women, not just for women but men, to understand what women are going through as well, like body changes, mind changes, mentally, like I was crazy, like, you know, like I was really in a bad place, and I've never been like that before, so it's, how do you understand?
I think a lot of people maybe wouldn't realise, I wouldn't have realised either, but it's like, although you were pregnant, your body still has all those hormones, even though it's like not went to plan, those hormones are all still through your body, and like,
and it was 2 pregnancies in such a short time as well. And but like I say, I think like at the second time I had to go up to the hospital because it was like really like heavy bleeding. I was all over the place. My head was like, what's happening to me? Like, and the doctor at the time in the hospital, he was like, can I just ask why you're so upset? And I think that was why I had such a delayed response to what happened to me, because I was just like thinking, why is he saying that to me? Like thinking, and then I felt terrible. In fact, I was crying about like this, and I think that's why it took so long to, and then eventually it just got on top, just hit me. And
that seems like such an insensitive thing to say.
Like, see now when I think back, like I wouldn't miss someone like that. Like if they said it, but at the time I was just a bit emotional and like all over the place. Like that I was just shocked.
Was that the visit where you found out?
No, that was just the next emergency, because like you couldn't get through to someone in the hospital. I was like, my head was over the place. I was thinking, is it the first pregnancy? Or am I pregnant? I don't even know. Like, because you're just like, so much has happened in such a short space of time. And then he was just like, that's an emergency. It was just the way he said it. I was like,
you must almost feel in yourself like, oh, this is really common where I shouldn't feel
I
bad
shouldn't
about
be
it.
feeling like I shouldn't be feeling upset like about this, because he's the way he said that to me. Like,
oh, that's that.
And now when I look back on it, I think, God, I would not miss someone like that in a normal day, you know. But like, at the time, I was so over the place. So
how did you end up finding out? So
basically, because then eventually he'd sent me home, and then I'd which was obviously really bad that he'd done that as well, because he didn't take a blood test. He told me my test was negative, but I was like, that, like, I can't be positive one day and negative the next. So I went home and done another test. I think maybe I was just that early on that his test didn't pick it up, but he didn't do a blood test. And ectopic pregnancy is really dangerous. They actually kill people if it ruptures in the tube. So a few days passed and I was still having this really, really heavy bleed. And I ended up eventually getting through to the early pregnancy unit, and they were like, right, come up. And then they took the blood test, and they were like, no, you're still definitely pregnant, but you need to come back. So this went back and forth every couple of days, up and down, up and down. And then eventually they seen a shadow in the tube, and that's when they discover. So then you need to make a decision that you need to take this injection to basically almost terminate it. But the day that they called me to say you have to come for this, I was like, I'm not coming today, I'll come tomorrow. Like, but that night I ended up in agony and being rushed into hospital, because obviously when you start getting pain, that's a sign of internal bleeding. So it means that that it could be rupturing. And then that's when I had the surgery the next day to basically remove it from your body. So then I just got on with it. Like, I came in here and done a training course the next day. Like,
I was about to say, so how, like, what is your thought process? Like, either, like, during, like, going into the hospital, what is your thought process
I know,
here?
you're just I don't even know what I was thinking, to be honest. I think everything's just a bit of a blur, like, from that whole period. But, like I say, I got out of the hospital on the Sunday, and then they're just waving out the hospital, see you later. Like, so you just keep thinking, it's just
So
a
common
it's
or
as if it's
something.
like, this is just the normal, you shouldn't be, like, nothing, just away you went. And I was like, done a training course the next day just because so that's why I think it hit me. It was about September. I was really, that months and months later, I think,
So that
all
was
of a
a couple of
sudden,
months later,
yeah, it
and
was
then
months later.
what was what started happening? What
Just
was
kept having all these dreams that I was pregnant. I was waking up in the middle of the night thinking something was kicking my tummy. I was going in the toilet doing pregnancy tests and all that. Like, that's how much my mind had warped from it. Like, just everything. I couldn't bear to be around anyone with a kid. I couldn't look at kids, and I came off social media and all that. I couldn't look at people. It's nothing personal to anyone. It's just my mind was
Just
playing
triggers
tricks
your
with me. It
thoughts.
was just playing mind games. Like, it was just a horrible, horrible, horrible time. Like, a horrible experience. I would never wish it on anyone, but that's how the charity is going to be amazing. Like, imagine there's just a phone line that you can just phone someone up and be like, this is how I feel at 3 a.m. when you're in floods of tears, and that person on the phone's just, like, there to listen to you.
when did you, like, obviously it's been, like, terrible for, like, it was, how long were you like that, do you think? How long were you in that state for?
Probably, like, to be honest, a couple of months, but, like, it's a good thing is I had a business, I had a job, everything kept me going, do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when everyone left, you were here on your own at night, and it was quite hard. But so it was probably like that for a long time. And the good thing is the clients, like, recently are like, oh, you're just so sad. And I thought I was putting on a brave face, and obviously I wasn't. They could tell, like, I was not
Knew something
myself.
wasn't quite right.
They just knew it, but they're like, it's so nice to see you now, like, you're back probably better than you were before that. But I thought I was, like, just putting on a brave face, and I clearly wasn't. Like, I was
That's, like,
obviously
good
in
clients,
a
I guess, you know,
but
they've
they'll
probably
still
seen
stick
you a lot.
with you. That's the thing. They know, like, it's not normal for you to be like that, and for anyone to notice that, it's good. But they were just always there, you know, like, making sure you're all right.
And was it obviously the time that you tried to take your life, was that the moment? So, like, was that the moment you realised, I need help, I need to...
Yeah, I phoned the doctor, and I was just like that to the doctor. Like, I'd basically like, took loads of pills, and I think it just, probably years of partying actually saved me. Like, it just knocked me out. Woke up the next day like that. Like, obviously, like, I was just a horrible, like, the fact that I even admitting that I'd done that is, like, quite hurtful to me, because I think that I've got a really good life. Like, I've got a lot going for me, but just mentally I couldn't deal with the thought process that was going on in my head. I didn't understand it, didn't know what was going on.
Can you remember the thought process at that moment in time?
It was just like, I was just so, like, low, just felt so alone. Like, I mean, I could have probably had 100 people around me, and I would have still felt alone. Like, because you can't, how do you explain that to people, like, how you feeling, like, or the thoughts going on, like, and it's months and months later. Who even wants to listen to it? Who are you going to bring it up with? Like, that's how I felt. Like, I couldn't. And so I phoned the doctor, and they're like, just the usual, but just got to put you in tablets. And I'm actually quite a really, really strong person, you know, so I think I was on the tablets for about 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, get them in the bin. And that was the changing point. And then just everything from there on, I've just got myself, went to these wellness retreats, and I did have a therapist for a bit. Did it benefit me? Probably not. You know, like, it wasn't what I needed personally. So actually I started going to wellness weekends, wellness retreats, like, doing things that I would never normally do, but actually putting myself first, which is not something I've probably done a lot. And then once I started looking after me and not caring about anybody around me, because at the end of the day, like, I was a priority, and I'm my own priority, and if I'm not good, then I can't help anyone else. So I done it, and had to make myself feel better.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like what you were saying earlier. You're definitely the one that's, like, you're always the one that gives,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so maybe you just weren't, like, when you were at your lowest, you just weren't used to, like, even asking for help, or you probably wouldn't recognise the feeling of being looked after yourself, you know. I think that's
and that's
honestly...
it. So I actually started looking after myself, and I've actually never felt better. I would probably say I feel better now, even pre everything. Like, I feel like I'm back to myself years ago. Like,
That's
just
amazing.
full motivated, full energy, but it's only because I've spent the time on me.
Do you still continue to spend the time on yourself?
Yeah,
You still do all
yeah, I
this
have
sort of
been
stuff?
doing it like loads, like, and just like going away for weekends on my own. Like, I actually just went away on holiday there myself in January. It was the best thing I've ever done. Like, things I would never have done that before, like never. But I think after last year, I've realised that actually it's good to
It's a
be on your
priority,
own.
aye.
It's actually, I went to a show last night on my own. Like, it's fine. Like, so good things have it's probably made me grow as a person. As much as it was a horrific experience, I never want to go back there, so I need to learn to grow on my own and not be worried about anybody else around me, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. Can you pinpoint, I guess you've maybe like said it a wee bit there, can you pinpoint what helped you the most just get through that time? Like,
Just me, myself, like, it genuinely was. The therapist wasn't cutting it for me, like, so I was just like, I was a motivator to make myself feel better. It's only you can make yourself feel better. Nobody else, I don't think, can help. All these wee other things are great to learn experiences, learn about other people's lives, but only you can change, I think, how you feel. And I think by doing all the other wee bits, it made me more confident, pushed me to be a wee bit happier with my life, like, and appreciate what I've got.
and so that kind of brings us to obviously your charity that you've set up. So when did you make the decision to do this?
Well, I think I was in the hospital bed when I was like, honestly, I think I was actually in the hospital. I was like, I'm going to do something to help people, like, and then obviously just snowballed. Like, obviously there was a part when we were kind of first setting it up, like, I had no clue how to do this. Like, I just thought you just register charity and that's fine, but you need all these legal documents, you need this and that, and then it kind of stopped for a bit because it was like, obviously how I was feeling was quite low, but then the good thing is coming out the other side of that, it's pushed me to really now push it. And like, it's been great. Like, I've got a team of people who are people I know, like professional people that are just so keen. They're all volunteers. No one's been paid for anything that they're doing, you know, everyone's volunteered for the setup of this, and these are people with busy lives and businesses as well, but they are so dedicated to helping make it a success.
Just like yourself, you literally just, like, before this you showed us your calendar, and I've never seen anything quite like that.
I don't know how you
Honestly,
make sense of it.
I know.
I don't know, it's like a
Control chaos.
It's
Oh,
those wee boxes. It's literally an essay per one, isn't there?
Aye,
There's like an
right.
essay in every single
God,
box.
I
It's
know.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So we've obviously went through your experience there. So how, ideally, how would this charity make that experience different? So, like, ideally, what would you like your charity to be doing for people that were maybe going
people.
through the same
So,
experience as
like,
yourself?
I mean, I think the end result is to have like a phone line, to have a phone service that, like, but specific to these things like miscarriage, and it'll be people who are answering the phone. They know they've lived it. They can, like, basically they know when the client or the patient or whoever phones up. I mean, I think the end kind of goal where I would like is possibly be in with the NHS, so that we are the follow-up service. So when you leave the hospital, nobody phones you. So when you have a baby, midwife comes and checks on you, doesn't she? Make sure you're not suffering mentally, checks the baby. But when you have an ectopic pregnancy, nobody phones you. Nobody comes and visits you. Right, I get it, there's too many people to probably follow up. But that's where our charity could help with that. As long as the patient ticks a box, we'll phone them. We'll phone them up. We'll phone them up. Are you? How are you? You okay? Like I say, mine was months and months and months later. My mental health suffered, not at the time. So all it takes is that one phone call, and we could maybe prevent mental health issues if we phone them up just after it's happened. So just them to know that there's someone at the end of the phone, no matter what time of day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, that's all it takes for people, is to know that someone's there. So we could then prevent mental health issues in the future by like basically getting them at the start, if you like.
What is, like, so right now, what is the aftercare for? Is it nothing? Is it,
Nothing. There's nothing at all. I wasn't even given a leaflet or anything or nothing.
like you say, you just get like a wee bye, just
And
like a
you need to
normal-
have like 3 failed pregnancies before they'll even investigate why that's happening or do tests and stuff like that. So you need to go through that trauma 3 times before they'll even pay attention to you.
And
Like,
it is trauma, like
it is
like
trauma.
you're saying,
It's trauma
like,
to your body. Like, it is like traumatic experience, and yeah, some people will just get on with it, and that's absolutely fine. But some people don't. So we have set up a few dates between now, like May, June and July, for the wellness weekends that I was talking about earlier. I'm going to get that company involved. The place, it's a big place called Ardemy House, and it's down in Arica, and it's absolutely beautiful. And the guy who owns it, Andy, is just brilliant. Like, it's even just the breathing techniques that he teaches you. Like, you take that away for your everyday life. Stressful situations, you just think of what he's taught you. So we're going to send people on these between now and obviously the event, so that we've got, like, we can, by the time the event comes, we can say we've helped this many people already. So
that's amazing. So what are the wellness streets going to look like?
So they'll just be like things. They'll just be like obviously the mindfulness, the breathing. They maybe take them out in the canoes. They'll do cold water dipping, the saunas. It'll just be a nice day for people who, say, people are going through IVF, right? Like, for example, their life's consumed by their IVF. They're basically working through a timetable when to get pregnant. You know, like, there's so much, like, see, just a wee day away from that. They don't need to talk about it or think about it. Like, probably just like engaging married couples back together, or couples, like, to remember that why they're together, you know, like, as well, and like, stop, like, maybe getting so consumed by it. It's easy enough to say don't get consumed, but because that's their life, but just a nice wee day away to relax. And
it's easy to get lost in, like, everyday life, and then when things like that happen, it just snowballs into your everyday life, and you're just going through it, like you're saying. Like, you just started, like, you obviously went through these situations, and it was just like you just went straight back to work, you know, and you just felt as if it should just be a thing that should just be in your life now and just carry on, and it just doesn't work that way. So, like, obviously going off and just taking a wee bit of time out on these wellness retreats, I think will be really good. And
it's just the start, and that's the thing, like, who knows where this can go. This is us just piloting this. Is this going to be work for our charity? Like, when the phone line and things is set up, we hopefully have, like, that run by mostly probably by volunteers, and then hopefully from that what will happen is, say, like, for example, you called and we thought, right, you maybe need a wee bit additional support, we can then put you in touch with one of our paid, we should have, like, people that the charity will pay, like, if people need further assistance, like, you know. But for me, I think the wellness things are good starting point, like, to just see, there's loads of ideas, you know, it could go any way, but, like, we need to try all these different things out and see what works for people.
It's like you said before, it's not so much like setting a goal, and it's more just like, okay, let's just get started, and then let's see where this goes.
See what happens.
You know, what opportunities are going to come from it. But I think it's amazing that you're taking action on this, and you are, like, you've been through this, but you're going to make sure that, like,
nobody goes through that feeling of not being on their own. Pretty much, that's.
And I guess, like, if you and your partner, like, obviously your ex-partner now, but, like, if you two had maybe something like that to go to, it might have helped with the communication stuff, like, for the first one, really. You know, no, I think that sounds honestly absolutely amazing. I think, like, it's going to help a lot of people. Maybe just going back now to, like, I guess you're just, like, your future now, like, obviously you're going to be running the charity as well, but you've got a skincare line coming out now as well, you know, so you've got a lot going on. So do you think you'll be able to, like, what's the idea with the skincare line?
So basically, like, I just do lots of skin, like, I do lots of clients, I help lots of clients with skincare, and I just was never part of the plan, to be honest. I kind of just almost thought, if I'm just going to do this, and then found a company, and they're based in Glasgow as well, like, so it's good, everything's kept in the, like, close by, and, like, it's been, like, about 2.5 years we've been working on it, so that's the first order just in, like, so that is quite nice, like, all the package, everything's all been designed professionally and by proper, so not, like.
Did you create these things yourself?
The
like
product,
the actual
yeah. So
product?
what happens is they basically, like, ask you for a guide of what you're kind of looking for, and you give them an idea, and then they make a formula, and then they come back and I test it. I get the clients to work on it, test it, and then we change or add ingredients or take ingredients out. So that's why it's such a long process, because then you've got to test it for ages and make sure it's the right thing and get the feedback back from the clients. And the clients are great because they just, like, take anything, they'll try it out, like, where they don't know, it might burn your face off, but, like, try it.
You're the guinea pig.
Let me know how it is. But they're just willing to do it, which is great. And the good thing is they're the ones that's going to buy it, so it's got to suit them. Like, you know, it's good to get their feed. It's no point me just testing it and loving it, and then I need people to buy it. So
does this feel different? You know, like, this is something you've never done before. It's like a product now, you know, your name, like, does it feel different from, like, the other business ventures that you've done?
It feels good. And the thing is, with this project, we're actually gifting 50% of our stock for the first order to the charity, in order for the charity to make, because I would have probably made a financial, like, I would have made a like a donation to the charity, right? And I just thought, well, why don't I just buy more skincare and then gift, and then the charities then got their stock, so anything they do with their stock is up to them. They'll sell all that, make their money. If they want to reinvest it back into more stock, they can. Whatever's going to work, we'll get obviously hopefully some financial guidance on that and what we should do with the money when they make the money. But that just gives the charity the best. They'll probably make more money than me the first time round.
Well, charity's doing really, really well.
I know, I'm skint. But as long as I break even the first round, that's all I'm worried about, you know, in order to buy more stuff. Because although there's only 5 products launching this year, there's already another 5 in production. So
what are the 5 that are launching?
No, I can't tell you.
Oh, really? Is that a secret just now? Right, okay.
No, so I've got a pre-cleanser, a cleanser, a treatment for spots, a peel and a moisturiser. So just kind of basic kind of lime.
How do you feel as if like the beauty do you feel as if the beauty industry's like changed or got a lot bigger in like the past?
It's definitely got bigger, like I would say. I think people are just more into themselves now, aren't they? Like they like to look after themselves, and obviously the last couple of years we've not done anything, so people have got a bit more income. They've got more money just now because they've not had the holidays, they've not been spending. So yeah, it's definitely, I would say, going well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good like industry to be in. Like, you know, like I think it's, do you think it's like a lot to do with like social media and stuff, like try to like keep up with certain people? Is it like, do you feel as if like social media is a big part of like?
Well, I think things are just more accessible. I think like years ago when you used to read something in a magazine, it was always in London, or it was never really anything local to you, so you would just maybe think that only existed in London. Now with social media, it's like, oh, she's just round the corner, I'll just go there, you know. So it's just more accessible because more people talk about it.
What is that big machine you've got literally just in the next room?
That's for hair removal.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Like
there's machines everywhere in here, honestly.
I seen one on your Instagram that you do like on the face or something like that. It's like each bit of the face, and then it's like you're red for a wee bit. Like,
no, so that's just a brand new one I got. That's a micro needling one. That's my new baby.
Is it quite like new to the industry?
Yeah, that one's quite. So I had one a couple of years ago, and to be honest with you, it was okay, but the technology, the machine always used to cut out, so I ended up doing away with it because I thought I can't work with machines that work like that. So this is it is probably one of the latest, the best technologies and stuff like that. So yeah.
Are you finding you're getting quite busy with that?
Yeah. I'm kind of one of those people who don't shut up about it when I launch something, because what's the point of it collecting dust? So people are probably sick of listening to me going on about it.
You can genuinely see your eyes just like brighten up. See when you talk about your machines, it's honestly just like...
It's so sad. It's eating breathed machines.
Obviously being like such a successful businesswoman and having these multiple businesses, like have you got any advice for people that would just be looking to start out like in the beauty industry? Like have you got like advice for, actually, you know, something, it doesn't even need to be the beauty industry, maybe people that are like, it's like, you know something, I'm just stuck in a dead end job now, I would like to go and do something for myself. Like what kind of advice do you give?
Just believe in yourself. Like no one else is going to do it for you. So if you've got a dream, do it. If it doesn't work out, then try something else. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you've only got one life, and I just think like, what's the point of waiting about now? Like I waited 4 years to buy my first machine because it was so expensive, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can afford to pay for that. And then as soon as I done it, I made it work because I knew I had to, and I've never take that long ever again to make a decision. So now I just act to impulse. So like, I'm getting that and that's it.
Do you have that like kind of like, you do hear people, it's like, okay, you need to make a decision within 5 seconds, and if it's a yes, it's just, you know what I mean, it's like that's if it's a yes, you should make it.
You better just do it, like, because that's what I said. I feel I wasted 4 years humming and hawing about that machine, and then now I'm like, imagine where I'd be if I'd bought it 4 years sooner. But you make it work. If you want to work hard, you will. Some people want you to do the work for them, I think, like sometimes, but if you've got it in you, you'll make it work. I
think it's really important for it to be something that you do genuinely are passionate about. It's not just that, like, you know, I think a lot of people might see success like yourself and go, oh, I'll just, like, I kind of want her life, do you know what I mean? I'll just go into that industry and try and buy that machine and do it. Do you know, I think it's really important for it to be a passion to be there.
Yeah, but I think that's just came over the years as well for me. Like, if I do love my job. I genuinely do. I love everything about it. Like, and I do think some people think it is easy, but it's not. Like, it's long hours. Like, you're managing your own diary just now. Like, I'm talking to people on Instagram every day. Like, there's just messages, and I'm doing it all alone. So it's not just doing a wee machine and that's it. There's a lot of stuff goes on in the background, but is it worth it for me? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't change it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it looks like a glamorous lifestyle from the outside sometimes, but more the back end.
but
You're
that's
literally
that's it, and you're always like last in the queue to be. But at the end of the day, like, that's the life I've built it up. I'm not going to sit and knock it back now. This is all I've wanted, so I'll take it whilst it's there.
And I think I think it's been a great great talking to you today. It's been honestly learned so much. But I think maybe just to finish off, like if we just kind of go back to more like the charity, and just again it would just be like, what would be obviously you're now starting this charity up and there's going to be support there, but have you got advice on how best to deal with like maybe a situation that you went through as well? Like what like, so somebody has just went through that, what would your initial advice be? For
me, like, I hear that whether the charity's set up or not, do you know what I mean? Like, spoke to loads of people, just speak to people, don't keep it to yourself. Like, you'll be surprised, there's probably your pal who's going through the same thing and she didn't tell you about it, like, and I've heard that so many times from people, like, just don't keep things to yourself, like, let's talk.
I think like mental health in general is like, it's becoming so much. People are like promoting to talk about it, you know, and which is only a good thing, you know. And I think you just need to be able to realise that, like, going through something like that, it's linked to mental health, you know, and you do need to just be open about it and speak to the people around you. Like, how much support did you have around you? Did you have like?
I would probably say I'm the kind of strong one, right? So I don't really know that people probably realised how much I was suffering. I don't know that people really picked up on it, because I probably, you're always so strong, you're so tough, and like people, you like, so you kind of felt like you couldn't not be strong and not be tough. And when you did have the breakdown, like, and you weren't talking to people, then people were taking it personally as if like you were cutting them out, like you'd done something bad to them. And I was like, it's not. This is me trying to deal with my own issues, you know, like, and that's why I started to become that wee bit selfish and be like, just worrying about me.
Yeah, that's
to make yourself feel better, you know, like, can't keep worrying about what other people are thinking. Like, unfortunately, like, I was not well, you know, and if people took personally like how I was feeling, then obviously I'm sorry, but like, I had to get myself better, you know, like.
And now they know. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's
so
it, and that's it. No one knows any of that, and the reason I probably never told anyone, because it wasn't actually a cry for help, you know. I wasn't wanting people to feel sorry for me. It's just how I felt, you know, like, terrible.
Just they couldn't really see a way out, you know, at that point in time. But thank you honestly so much for like sharing, like, on this podcast. You know, it's like you say, a lot of people aren't going to realise kind of what you went through. But hopefully, like, if people can take like motivation from you as well in terms of like business, because I mean, like, the businesses you've set up are just amazing, you know, and like you are an inspiration to
thanks.
Like, to anyone really, you know, like how you've managed to go, like, the amount of businesses that you've got going, the stuff you've been through, and just your work ethic in general. So and then obviously if it can help anyone at all that's even going through the situation that you've been through, and at least I think now they'll know, if nothing else, they're going to have your charity set up.
Yep, that's it, exactly. So that's a change that's made already, like, it'll be good, and it'll help a lot of people.
Is the charity able to take donations right now?
Yeah, we're having the website and stuff's being created. There's a website being set up for our event, and there'll be a donation page on that. So yeah,
perfect.
Don't worry, we'll be on the begging soon. We'll be on the beg pretty soon, and people will be sick of me. They're like,
I don't think you'll struggle at all. You know, I think the good thing is with the products launching, it's quite a nice way to, people can buy a product, they get something for their money, the charity's getting something for their money, and you know, that's a good way to kind of start it, because you know it's like everybody's always asking for money for something, you know, so this is a nice way of them getting something and the charity getting something for that, so that'd be good. No, I think that's a great way of doing it. Like, literally, we're just finishing and the rain has just started coming down, you know, in Scotland as well, you know, like, up the rain, never get the rain. But Laura, thank you honestly for so much for taking
thanks for having me.
The time out, obviously that busy schedule to be with us today, but thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you.